Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome back to the H Cup presented by BTS. We're going to be taking a look at game number 2 between Vici Gaming Reborn and Invictus Gaming. We saw, I don't even know what we saw last game. It was a buildup of a lead and then the throwing it away. It was like it was playing hot potato with a lead. That's basically what it came down to. And Vici Gaming Reborn were able to come away with the win. I'm Lyrical joined today by Danelie Casts. Danny, is there anything else you'd like to add to that last game? Things that you felt like maybe went well for IG that they can build upon going into the next game?
Well, I mentioned it last game. Maybe they know a little bit more with how IG plays, but at this point, I'm honestly thinking that IG might be hit with a emotional curveball here. They were almost going to beat Vici Gaming. They literally played a series 24 minutes before that previous game. WCA, IG got 2-0'd. Like, on a 3-0 losing streak to Vici Gaming right now, it's really got to hit home, and I'm hoping that they don't get too emotional about it, that they can sort of recollect themselves as a team and sort of just hope that the game goes similar to last game where they could accumulate the lead. They got team fight, they had control as well, and the bounty hunter is a step in the right direction as he can snowball with this hero, and I'm hoping that this time, if they do accumulate that lead, that they play a little bit safer, don't get too overconfident, don't get too reckless, and hopefully they can take this safely, because last game would have been shattering to any person's motivation going into game 2.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think the other thing is like, and you touched on it, it's just getting not only, a huge comeback, but then also playing the 2 games previously. It's just, it's so demoralizing. And to feel like you have to play then also potentially another 2 game series after this. IG, if they're able to pull this out and win this next 2 games, you got to give them a ton of credit. And we're going to see if they're going to be able to do it. Again, as you said, the Bounty Hunter, a pretty great start to it, but likewise, Vici Gaming, it feels like they have an answer a little bit. They go for the Enchantress and the Nature's Prophet, which is just going to be able to do a ton of damage very quickly. And if IG are not careful with this, like, a Bounty Hunter is good in some ways against trying to go for push lineups, because as they need to come back to sort of push out other creep waves, you can find a kill. Sometimes you're able to sort of break the push before it starts by finding kills in other lanes. But likewise, if you go for like a super heavy push oriented lineup, you can end up running into a situation where you end up losing all of your towers, and Bounty Hunter isn't great at de-pushing. So I think that's why they end
Absolutely.
up going for this Winter Wyvern next, and hoping that they're going to be able to put themselves in a position where they can hold off that push with this hero.
So with the Winter Wyvern pick, I'm actually expecting IG to be picking up heroes that will be requiring the Winter Wyvern setup. So you're probably going to be looking at classic combinations such as the Gyrocopter, the Darkseer, just so that they can at least guarantee themselves a team fight. The great thing already with the Wyvern is you're going up against Nature's Prophet, and there's going to be a high chance that you're going to be able to grab a Winter's Curse early on with the Treants nearby, so they might be able to grab some early pickoffs with the Winter Wyvern's Curse and also use that as setup. But for IG at this point, they're going to prevent VG from being able to pick up all those really early pushing heroes. And we did see a Lycan game, not yesterday, but the day before, which worked to great success for that other team that was ran in a position for, it was in the jungle and it didn't get punished at all.
Yeah.
So just denying it from VG Gaming does prevent them from having access to not just the Lycan in general and his great split push, but the Howl with the Nature's Prophet treants are just, ugh.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. It's a struggle, and I mean, Nature's Prophet Trance, Enchantress creeps too. Everything just sort of getting thrown together. There's one of those moments where you get like, the Dark Troll Summoner, and then you get a ton of skeletons, and then all of a sudden you've got like 3 times the amount of howl damage that you would have previously before you pick up that creep. So you definitely need to be careful. And I think it's a really smart ban. The other one that I might be a little bit curious about is if it might even be worth it to run a Chen in this. Like, Chen Enchantress feels like it might be a little bit too heavy committal to the push, but at the same vein, you do end up having a lot of push potential with that, and it's something that you might think about considering. It's not a hero that's likely to get banned out. Do you feel like those 2 heroes can coexist, an Enchantress and a Chen?
They can definitely coexist. The Nature's Prophet is obviously going to be going in the offlane role this game, and Enchantress will be sitting in the jungle. And what VG Gaming is probably going to be doing with both of these heroes is that Enchantress will be trying to roam around with the troll, with the centaur, just try and roam around to secure some of these kills early on. And all the Nature's Prophet has to do is TP in.
Yeah.
That's an easy kill because it's instantly three heroes for a single engagement. And the great thing about that is that if you grab that kill, you've got two heroes that are amazing at push already in that lane, and you can do some serious damage to the tower while you're at it.
Hmm.
So, like as is, like Vici Gaming's draft is already scary, and because they have such strong early game with an Enchantress and a Nature's Prophet, they can afford to pick up a Rubik. He isn't the best here when it comes to the early phase, just because Rubik in himself doesn't do that much damage output for easy snipes, but he will act as that setup for the Enchantress and Nature's Prophet when the time arrives.
Yeah, and that's the big thing I think is the sort of telekinesis, being able to pull somebody back, and then the main way that you get damage out with these types of drafts is just with right click. Like Nature's Prophet picking up early stat items, I feel like we've almost always seen now Nature's Prophets go for like phase boots into drums, and that like starting core can just be so painful to deal with because you get a good amount of damage online, the ability to move through your treants, you can just right click heroes down, and then from there you can transition into whatever you want, whether that be like an Agnum Scepter or, as we've seen sometimes here, the Blink Dagger into the Orchid. So I think that getting a Rubik pickup to pull heroes back and make sure you can get those last couple of right clicks is really, really relevant. And now going for the Darkseer, another nice combo. You were talking about this with the Winter Wyvern. It's not as OP as it was previously, where you could get the illusions hitting away throughout the whole course of it, but it's still really, really good. And the other thing about this is that the D push that's provided by Ion Shell, it's something that's fairly necessary. I don't know how effective it's going to be as far as like killing off treants because you can focus it, but maybe if you bring the bounty hunter into the situation as well and have the shadow walked bounty hunter with the Ion Shell on top of him, that's a lot more strong to me. Oh god, this is a lot of push.
I was actually wondering what VG Gaming was going to pick up for their safe lane, because when you pick up a Rubik versus a Darkseer, Rubik can't actually handle the Darkseer very well. Like, he can lift him away, but that's about it. Harassing's not really in the game, isn't really the name of the game for the Rubik, just because the Darkseer isn't going to be suffering from the Rubik alone. So at least they've picked up a self-sufficient carry that's going to be able to farm the lane and sort of deal with the ion shells in his own way by using the healing ward, as well as maybe using some spins every now and again to mitigate the ion shell damage. And IG, they're going to go back and pick up an Ursa as their fourth pick. China's really been liking their Ursa picks lately. Is there something that we're not seeing?
I think that one is the Agnum Scepter. The way that works now with being able to mitigate damage is pretty great. Controlling Roche, incredibly important. We saw it happen a couple of times in the last game. And beyond that, there's probably some other stuff that I'm sure pros know that we don't know because they're pros. But I think that the big thing about Ursa is just the potential that he gives you to secure objectives. And that's also Enchantress. He's not like a full-on counter to her, but being able to have that overpower to deal with the untouchable is pretty nice. The problem that I see with it right now is that in the early game, there's literally like 0 stuns that are going to be effective. Like, you're not going to level a vacuum on Darkseer, and it's all slows, which, while it's strong in the early game, Juggernaut doesn't care a whole heck of a lot about that. The other thing that's nice is, I guess, that Ursa against Juggernaut, Juggernaut does suffer from physical damage problems, and you can't Blade Fury away from Fury Swipes, so that's the other thing.
My major concern as well, you mentioned the lack of disables on IG. Vici Gaming are actually going to be able to get away with a lot of their plays by simply TPing out. Winter Wyvern isn't a support that really does a lot of damage. Bounty Hunter, to a certain degree, he can cancel the TP with the Shuriken at least. Winter Wyvern, if she wants to cancel, you have to use the Winter's Curse. And for Darkseer, it's a vacuum. Like, they don't have that many spells for disable, so if Vici Gaming know all of them are on cooldown, they can simply TP out. And I feel like IG are going to be missing out on a lot of kills just because Vici Gaming can get away with it. And they finalized the draft with the Wind Ranger, which deals really well with an Earthsar just because she can mitigate all the incoming physical damage with Windrun.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I feel like IG have maybe drafted themselves into a bit of a hole. What mid are they going to pick to equalize everything?
That's a tough question because a lot of the really great mids have been banned out. They've taken away the Invoker, the DP, the Puck, the OD, even the Queen of Pain, who's not often thought about. Like, I really think they need to go back to, I don't even know, what would be a good de-pushing hero? Oh, God.
Oh no,
um,
IG.
well, I'll say this. I love the Wind Ranger pickup here because it allows you to have a way to break high ground with the slow siege coming up. And if they get an Aegis on her, it's a really great way to do it. I really don't know about the Medusa last pick. I feel like this is
It's
not the best.
it's a Ferrari Medusa. Maybe he's gonna pioneer an aggressive mid Medusa. I'm being a little bit too positive here, but geez, it just feels like IG may have just sort of given up on this game and just be like, yeah, let's just pick something. It really doesn't matter. I know it's bad enough to say that, but their draft does not look that promising.
The
Like
one
they've got
thing,
some. I suppose they got some team fight potential, but what are your thoughts on this? I don't really get that much from this
okay.
Medusa.
All right, here's the one thing that I'm seeing about it. The Wind Ranger, one of the things that you try to do with mid Wind Ranger is to get the creep wave pushed out by consistently power shotting, and then you eventually take the tower when a hero leaves to go gank a lane. By the way, I disconnected to try and help out with the lag a little bit. But the one thing about that the Medusa offers you is that you're never really going to be leaving the lane that often. You're just about like, going for split shot, and then you throw out the Mystic Stake from time to time to be able to get yourself a nice amount of farm, as well as apply harassment. So in that regard, you're not going to be seeing this Wind Ranger taking the tower early, I don't believe, because Medusa's not going to want to leave the lane. The way that I see this being a problem is if one of the lanes for IG goes poorly, they are going to be in a terrible, terrible spot because they don't have a mid that's going to be able to make space. So they're really going to be relying upon this bounty hunter, I feel like, to be able to do a lot of things in the laning stage. And I wonder how effective that's going to be.
I think not just the bounty, but they might be putting a lot of pressure onto QD to sort of be that main hero to make space for the 430. I guess there's like some synergy in like when he actually picks up the stone gaze on that Medusa. Like VG.R do not want to be facing the Medusa, period, because you're going to be stoned up, and obviously the Ursa can capitalize on that because he mostly does mostly does physical damage. But if you turn, then IG's still going to be able to chase you. So like there's a little bit of synergy, but it just feels too ultimate oriented. But in theory, it could work, but it's going to be based on the execution and how VGR sort of deal with Ferrari, and maybe they just shut them out during the lanes, because like, as is, Ferrari's gone for a first point into Mystic Snake, and look how much physical damage Nono's doing to him. He's completely zoned this Medusa out of lane.
Yeah, this is a problem. I will say that the jungle isn't going great for Enchantress. Bounty Hunter has opted to try and shut her down. He's been doing a good job of it. They placed down the ward to be able to block out the camp in a way that's a little bit frustrating to D-ward. So that's something that's going their direction, but that's not going to last forever. And you do see now that he's going to come over and try and mess with Yang a little bit. I don't know how effective this is going to be. And the other thing that you could say, I guess, is that Medusa's still been able to CS somewhat effectively, going 3-1 versus the, 5-1. Oh my god, I messed up these graphs a little bit. That's not the way they need to be. Yeah, never mind. She's getting kind of owned.
Whoops. That's alright. Everything's fixed. So let's see what IG's going to be able to pull out with this Medusa. Maybe I suppose like a secondary plan of theirs is just try to drag the game for as long as possible, right? Because Medusa's still relatively okay in the high ground defense, assuming that she does have the ultimate, and it looks like he's going to start making full use of that Mystic Snake. You can't actually underestimate the damage of the Mystic Snake, especially if you are going to be the last target of that, because that thing deals a lot of damage. And not only damage, but you're going to be giving free mana to Ferrari, which is essentially effective HP, because he's put that first point, or at least a point, into mana shield.
No. Yeah, and I think that's something to keep in mind. Wrong, again, scouting out here in the bottom lane. They do still have the Hellbear Smasher and these treants that are available, so I don't know how effective Ursa is going to be at de-pushing this. That's something that's going to need to be a little bit careful in taking care of it, because eventually you're going to end up running into this situation where they can dive the tower, and the only option that QD has is to try and out-DPS them, which might not be the most realistic idea.
Maybe at this point that maybe they're not really worried about the towers. If they lose the towers, then boohoo, that's unfortunate. They could just sort of, they can keep farming. The FY slow, that's first blood.
Well, that's the counter. You bring in the bounty hunter to be able to do it. And again, Medusa's been able to get a little bit better farm now. So this is what they need to be able to do, and if they step a little bit too far out of line, if they're not able to sort of see the Ursa running at them and he's able to get the ground pound off, you're going to end up running into trouble. I will say that this is coming a little bit at the cost of Darkseer not having the Bounty Hunter in his lane, but he's still being able to get a decent chunk here. Like, he's got level 2 and is doing fine.
I mentioned this before though, like what can XXS, like, I'm sorry, not XXS, what can DDC really do to the Darkseer? They've got only one disable, so it's not like the Darkseer is going to be dying anytime soon. So essentially XXS is fine on this off lane. It's just the other 2 lanes that we should be really worried about for IG, because let's face it, if IG can have one lane doing fine, they can put the supports in the other lanes, and that's great, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because at this point, their draft it's looking shaky. If they can just grab that head start that they're looking for, then maybe that's going to be the momentum that they're hoping to drive them forward in this game. Because at this point, we both agree that VGR's draft looks infinitely easier to execute.
Yeah, and it really needs to come off the back of taking those towers a little bit later on down the line. Like, it doesn't need to happen right now, but at some point in time. DDC has taken a little bit of damage there from the Ion Shell. You had to go commit the lift for that to make sure he didn't end up going down. But again, it's going okay right now. I'm curious how this Rubik is going to play out throughout the course of this game, because he is somebody that can be jumped upon by that Bounty Hunter if he's not careful. And Bounty, you know, loves to feed on those little supports. It's something they need to be very aware of.
It seems like they're putting more emphasis on the bottom lane, though. They're going to get the slow at least onto Yang. They do pop the slow onto Cutie, who's actually got no tangos or anything to cut through the tree line. But now it's going to be FY slowed up. It looks like no one's going to commit, though, as the Ursa decides to hit creeps instead. Wrong taking a whole bunch of damage from the duo. But FY's going to stick around in lane at less than 100 HP. He is above 100 now, but he's going to be very careful.
Definitely. I mean, he's got tangos there. He's got a low HP pool, so maybe as he goes to go pick up another creep, he's going to be able to heal up enough to let him stay in this lane. But again, I guess the other thing about this is they're committing to, 3 heroes down here, and they're not really losing out that much in the mid lane. You see that No, he's been kind of zoned out by Ferrari, and Mystic Snake goes out again. He's going to be able to get a little bit more mana from it. Meanwhile, they do manage to get the deny on him by Roche. I thought that he was getting killed, but just going to get back to base a little bit quicker.
Okay, so it looks like the lanes are stable for IG, which is great news for them. But for VGR, do you think VGR are content with how the lanes are going? Or at some point, do you feel that they're going to have to start taking control of some of these lanes? Always thinking about only slashing this Darkseer. But there are too many creeps. He's going to have to wait till the next wave.
I think that the rotation is going to need to come with the Nature's Prophet TPing in. Like, you're going to see FY eventually move along to this top lane here and try and pick up a couple of creeps along the way and then pressure this out. But actually, Wrong is going to move in now. This is a nice little timing as the Radiant Courier ends up going down. Where the heck did they get that? That was just the Aegis, or the over there in the mid lane. Yeah. But again, I guess the thing is, like, if you bring in the Nature's Prophet for a kill on the tier 1 tower, that's really the play that they need to make eventually. And the problem is that FY isn't really wanting to leave this lane here to do that.
Well, they don't need to. If they can get their level 6s, I think after that, then VG can start making some of these plays happen. They're not really under any sort of pressure to start off right off the bat, right? Because their draft scales decently. It's not like their draft is completely abundant with early game heroes that fall off after the 20-30 minute mark. Mm-hmm. And it looks like the bounty is going to start coming in for a bit of a roam onto this mid lane. Now, remember, it's a Wind Ranger. This is not going to be an easy kill, but I suppose if you're IG, if you can at least push the Wind Ranger back or send her back to base, that would be a mission success for the bounty, because you've opened up that lane so much more for Ferrari.
Yeah, definitely. I would agree. And every time this happens, you have to, if you force the Wind Ranger to commit the Wind Run here, then you can maybe find a kill as she heads back to base. And it looks like Ferrari is going to jump forward. There's the Wind Run committed, and Wrong is going to be looking for this now. I don't think he can find a kill, though, with no Shuriken. He's just going to be stalking the Wind Ranger for a second, and if she actually stops to farm, this could be a problem.
He was actually waiting for the Shadow Walk to come off cooldown, so now he's definitely going to wait for No. But he's going to have to hope that she drops very, very low. But now she knows that he's there just because he decided to pop the Shadow Walk.
He hid behind the tree. She didn't realize that.
Oh, wow. Nono's not going to die. He's fine.
Yeah.
He's playing it safe. He doesn't know where the bounty is. No one knows where the bounty is.
If that was
Yeah.
level 3, she would have died, I think, because he would have been able to get the shuriken, but didn't have it. Again, this is the thing I was a little bit worried about, though. Now, look at Bobaka down here in the bottom lane. Doesn't have enough for Arctic Burn, so is forced to TP out of here. And now the tower is a little bit exposed. They've got a lot of creeps in the area to be able to tank this up, and they might be able to take this.
And QD still sticking around. He's got to get out of here. There's way too many heroes. And Enchantress is moving at 380. They're going to bring the Nature's Prophet body box as well. Can they get it? The minus low onto QD, but the phase boots, it's going to be too much. Plus the Quelling Blade. They're still trying to chase him, but it's too deep. It's under a T2. And with the teleport already used, they can't finish off that Ursa. So I think for QD, even though he almost died, he's at least happy to get out of there alive. Wrong?
Ferrari 430. He's going to end up going down. They find the kill. Just with one rotation in from N too, and now down bottom they've brought in a couple other heroes. Wrong is here on the Bounty Hunter, but I don't know if he can really do enough on his own.
He can't do anything. There's no follow-up. The Winter Wyvern is not the support that you'd be looking for if you're trying to go for some sort of counterplay. You'd be looking if you're a Lion, a Witch Doctor, because those two heroes have much more kill potential than a Winter Wyvern ever could. Like, yeah, you can rely on Splinter Blast to a certain degree, but that's not a reliable source of damage. So they're going to stick around at least. And it depends if they want to make the play. They're actually going to bring the Nature's Prophet in. Now, they definitely know that Wrong is here. They pop the dust as well. They're going to go for the lift back. They don't really have the damage, but all of a sudden, Ferrari's come back in. The Mystic Snake connects onto Yang, and it takes a huge chunk of his HP out. And the heal coming in from FY is going to heal himself, as well as a little bit of DDC. And now Ferrari's stuck in the trees. Can't do anything, as Medusas don't typically buy Quelling Blades.
Absolutely, and still a little bit far forward here. Why did they stick around? What is FY doing? I don't understand.
DDC. I don't know why they're sticking around for either. Like, Ferrari just threw out a casual Mystic Snake. If the Rick wasn't there, he would have been fine, but he came back because he wanted one hit onto Ferrari. I have no idea what DDC was thinking.
There must have been something that we were missing there that was going on, because that definitely seemed very strange. Regardless, though, you look at this right now. IG are going to start to take the tower they're on. They've got the Cold Embrace to make that work, and you know, Ion shelled up, XXS. Are they actually going to bring in the Enchantress to try and defend against this? They've got DDC in the area, so maybe these two alone are going to be able to do it. It's worth noting that the mid-tier 1 tower did go down for the Radiant in that time, and that's the power that you get with the Jug. As he drops down that healing ward behind him, he's able to just pressure these towers out. So a nice little play there, and now they're going to be able to press the top tower while also thinking about coming back in here towards bottom. So VG.R, they have a very clearly executable draft that they're trying to put together, and they're doing it to a pretty great position here, as it does look like finally Jug is going to be able to take out this tier 1 tower top, and nobody's contesting.
Yeah, Nono even going to commit to the bottom tower as well with his buddies. That's 2 T1s, 3 T1s going in the way of VG.R. And IG, they're just not really in a position to really contest it at all. The status of the Ursa, who is arguably their only main type of controlling hero here right now, is he's only got the Morbid Mask. And for him to make any sort of moves happen, he needs setup. And unfortunately, the only heroes that can really set up for him right now is the Bounty for now. And to a certain degree, you can rely on Bobaka on the Winter Wyvern after he's gotten that level 6. But up until that point, QD is an unreliable source of initiation because he has to run at those targets. Luckily for him, he doesn't have to rely on trees, as it looks like they want to try and jump onto Yang. The Bounty's just watching him, but no one on IG is really in a position to make anything happen. They're still going to farm away on QD. And I think he's finished up Mask of Madness too, by the way.
Yeah, this is the thing. It's like, you were talking about it there, that setup. Like, you can get the Bounty Hunter to get a couple of right clicks, and it's exactly what we've talked about, that they don't have any stuns. You've got the mini stun from the Bounty Hunter, which is going to be able to break a TP. You've got Winter's Curse, which isn't up yet, and then Vacuum, which right now I believe is at level 1. Yeah, so like they can not really stop them from doing whatever they want. At any given point in time, they're going to be able to TP out of there, and looks like they're going to be able to secure the first Roshan right about 12-minute mark, and now IG maybe are a little bit out of position. They end up being able to steal away Cold Embrace for the moment. He's going to end up being able to get killed off. So that was a nice little play there, but Chase is going to continue. Bobaka is going to end up dropping so low, but not quite dead, and they drop down the wall into the midst of a couple of heroes. Omni Slash going to be committed. Darkseer goes down and looking for a little bit more now. They aren't going to be able to quite kill off there on No-No. The Shuriken is going to end up flying, and there's going to be the Stone Gauge, which is counter initiation. I think that End is going to end up being able to get out of here. Possibly. Wrong is chasing. They have another slow from Janata. I think that he is going to end up maybe going down, turn back, dropping very, very low. Oh my goodness.
Don't go there wrong. Don't show yourself wrong. You might die. They're spinning. They can't find him.
Yeah, and
Oh, gee. Wrong.
well,
Don't hit anything. He's trying to kill that fly. He's too good. He's too good.
oh,
Oh.
and No in the mid lane, he's just been running through the base. There was no tower there, so he's going to be able to walk away. Yang actually walking back into Ferrari 430. Did really nobody from VG.R just go down there?
No one died. They almost lost the Enchantress, but if Bounty Hunter went in for the Janata hit first and then the Shuriken toss, I think he may have gotten that kill. But he went for Shuriken first and then tried to go for Janata, which took 10 million years to land. So, oh jeez, that was so unfortunate for IG.
Yeah. He probably thought that he was going to be able to get it with the Shuriken, and it didn't end up working out. And again, like, you take a look now at the difference in terms of team net worth. This is what we were afraid was going to happen throughout this, and it's a 7,500 net worth lead with right around 5,000 experience. It's so heavily into the favor of VG.R just based off of, like, as we were saying, you know, these drums and phase boots up on Yang. They've got the stats up just to be able to click all the heroes down. And, you know, again, Medusa maybe is going to be able to turn this back around if she gets enough time to get the farm that she needs, but I don't know if VG.R are going to allow that to happen.
No, they really won't. Like, we've seen VG.R, how aggressive they can be once they have that momentum, and they're slowly starting to reach that point. And unfortunately for IG, they don't really have any sort of comeback mechanism to bring them back into the game unless they get some really clutch kills on some of these high priority, high value VG.R heroes. It's just that, as we saw in the previous fight, no one on VG.R died just because they could quite literally out-kite IG because of their lack of disables. Like, I think the only hero that really died there was the Rubik, but that's because he got caught in the Winter's Curse. That's inevitable. You know someone's going to die with that many units around him, but they can all lose the Rubik, but they also get the Bounty Hunter.
Well, it was a nice little trade there. I guess it's any trade at this point is honestly worth it. Like, you end up being able to also get, I believe that was a track kill that they were able to take, so pretty nicely done. It's an issue. FY again, phase boots, and is he going for a Midas, or is he? Am I crazy? What's he building? He is going for a Midas. Okay, why not?
Okay. I don't know how I feel about this, but if you want to buy Midases, then go ahead, be my guest.
I also really like the Juggernaut's build, though, the Mantis style, and then I'm assuming he's going to be going into Diffusal Blade after this. Just such a heavy counter to that Medusa, being able to drain the mana away. Wrong, again, is scouting all this out and is able to keep eyes, so there's going to be End that's right there in front of him. I would love to see somebody pick up a gem on VG.R, but at least for now, they're going to be roaming in with all 5 heroes into the jungle. If they don't get a kill off of this would be terrible, but it does look like that's going to be a possibility. No running away for the moment. End is still here. He's going to run into the Ursa, but haven't actually gone for a kill yet. FY trying to get chased up. They do have the Surge already committed now, and Wrong ends up getting caught out. He is going to end up going down. They find the kill, and they do manage to get one with QD. There's going to be able to be another Sprout up, and QD dropping low. He is going to end up maybe getting out. He does escape. Really nicely played there, and it doesn't look like they're going to be able to find a whole lot more after the back of this. Already the Nature's Prophet's gone down by virtue of that cold, or the Winter's Curse, and
that was a really nice snake. Omni Slash, though, they're going to kill Ferrari now. There's no more Mystic Snakes. He's got no more mana, no more effective HP. And XS has to run out of here, but can he get out of this? This Jug? Oh, the power shot.
Really nicely
Couldn't
done.
quite get home.
Yeah, and IG actually comes out ahead of that trade at the start, and it looks like that might end up fixing out at the end as they got the kill on the Darkseer there. But it wasn't so terrible for them because of the tracks that were involved in that. So pretty nicely done, and you are going to end up having a hero that scales incredibly well into the late game with this Medusa. I would rather see VG go for a couple of items here that build into like a more substantial lead right now, but I guess they're worried about being able to take high ground and then falling off.
I'm just concerned now for IG. What's their comeback mechanism? Like, are they supposed to rely on high ground defenses and capitalize on these huge VG.R heroes? Because, like, as the net worth goes up and up for VG.R, each kill does get more and more valuable for IG. So even if they're just killing a Rubik, there could all of a sudden be a 1k gold swing, 2k gold swing, depending on how much in favor the gold is for VG.R.
Oh, up
Are they
top.
trying to bank on that?
QD, Yang, he actually is able to juke him for the moment. I think that he's still going to end up going down. One last right click goes. Yeah, I think that they kind of have to bank on that, and then also plays like this, finding pickoffs with Ursa, because there aren't a ton of heroes that deal super effectively well with QD. I think probably the best is Rubik, and then outside of that is going to be the Wind Ranger with the shackles. But speaking of which, she is going to get chased on out here for the moment, and is going to be able to escape. But yeah, it's a scary scary concept at this point for the bear to be jumping on top of you, because most of these other heroes are somewhat capable of getting bursted down.
So IG, what are they hoping to achieve? Wrong's just going to go for a scout, and it looks like IG at this point, they're not trying to make any flashy plays. They are just essentially trying to farm and trying to push the lanes out, which at this point, like, what else can they really do? They're just going to make sure nobody dies, because if heroes start dying left, right, and center, then they're not going to really be able to bring it into that late game portion.
Yang.
Oh, Yang.
That's the blink into the trees. They are...
Oh, too late.
Wow.
Oh.
That would have been pretty
There's
nice.
a silver lining. Yeah, that's the silver lining for IG, just not dying. Now they got the blink on the Ursa.
Yeah. Well, and you look at the way that they're using this jungle, like, it's so much more effectively. You got Enchantress that is down there in IG's jungle, and there's no way for them to really stop this. Well, wrong now maybe with the Ion Shell, but she just runs away again and is perfectly fine with this. And she's got the Midas scaling well into the late game. And you look at the core situation, you've got the Jug, you've got the Wind Ranger who does a ton of damage, Nature's Prophet and the Enchantress, which are all just going to be able to rip them apart late game. And then for IG, they're mainly banking on this, like, Medusa and then Ursa, and kind of the combo together with the Winter Wyvern and Darkseer, but even that, there's not a ton of follow-up afterwards.
It's not just the follow-up though, but it's also the sheer reliance on that Winter's Curse too. Like, if any of these big spills whiff, I don't think it's gonna end nicely. Wrong's gonna dry it. Yeah, he's just gone. It's as if he's just picked the right name for the situation, man.
It's a problem. It's a real freaking problem. And again, I'm wondering what this next item is going to be for QD here. He's got 2,200 gold in the bank, already finishing off the Mask of Madness and the Blink Dagger. Last time around, we saw him, or whoever was playing Ursa, go for the Aghanim Scepter, I believe, as the next item before BKB. I wouldn't hate that so much here. Getting a little extra stats on top of the active is pretty good for him.
Yeah, and there's not that many disables that he really has to worry about. Like, he can always purge one of them off once he pops the Aghanims Enrage. So, yeah, I would say Aghanim Scepter being reasonably well rather than going for that BKB. Like, if he picks up BKB, what's he really mitigating? There's so much physical damage as well as pure damage from VG.R that I think BKB would be not the best pickup. So, yeah, he is starting to build in towards that Ags. He's got the point booster. And at least he'll give him some extra stats, right? Because he's the one that's mostly absorbing all the incoming damage, or the initial incoming damage from VGR. Because who else is going to tank for IG? No one's really in a position to do it yet.
Ooh, they spot out wrong, lift him back. They're going to be able to catch him out, and that's going to be another kill. Stealing Shadow Walk, too. Oh, that's awesome. That's such a great spell for Rubik to have now. And all of a sudden, if you're IG, you need to be worried about a couple different forms of initiation. They're going to be able to take the Tier 2 tower and just the slow disintegration of everything that IG holds. This is a real problem at this stage. How about No-No? What's he building towards? Already has the Blink and that Maelstrom, so it's got a good amount of wave push and also, you know, a decent chunk of damage.
We've got a pretty interesting rune on Ferrari. He's got a double damage rune. So if there are any fights that may be happening anytime soon, Ferrari's going to be dealing a reasonable amount of damage, and it looks like they may... Oh, they actually used a smoke, and DDC actually cancelled it out because he's walking around in the Shadow Walk. So that's a wasted smoke from IG, and because there's no detection, they don't know where this Rubik is.
God, that sucks. They don't have any detection outside of sentries on the bounty, but... Oh, wow. And again, this item, or this skill pickup for Rubik, it's just like exactly what you need. And look at the vision game, honestly. Right now, if you're IG, you can see like a small portion of your jungle, and then you're able to see the Ancients. And then for the side of VGR, they just see everything on this side of the map. They're completely hemmed in, and I want to see VGR continue this type of play and maybe pick up, again, as I was talking about that gem. I don't think that they have one yet, if I'm not mistaken, and then just like really hem in the vision game. But this allows them to take Roshan, and this hero, you know, that you pick in the Ursa to be able to control those objectives. It's just not working out for them. They are going to come and try and contest now, so need to be a little bit careful.
double damage has been deployed, and they've got the stone gaze ready. Now we've got DDC. He's going to scout this out at least. Oh, there's no detection for IG, so they don't even know he's here. And it looks like IG are just going to forfeit Roche. They don't even want to contest it at all.
Wrong.
It just goes to show how unconfident they are. Oh, and wrong.
Yeah. They kill him and steal it again, so he's got the whole duration a second time through now to be able to commit that Shadow Walk, and he is going to be scouting out QD again. He does end up popping it for the moment to walk away, but man, this is just everything is going wrong. They've got complete and total vision of all of IG's squad, and if things don't change very rapidly, I'm feeling like this is going to maybe be a 2-0. IG need to pull it back here.
It's looking very close to a 2-0 for IG. How much faith do they have in each other for the moment, though? Like, they do have high ground still. That is their one saving grace. High ground. If they can defend high ground and get some of those kills on high ground, they can slowly accumulate enough gold so that Ferrari becomes a much bigger threat. And the biggest item here that Ferrari will be looking to is just that Skadi. Like, the sheer amount of stats he gets out of that, not only does the Medusa get incredibly tanky just because he gets the extra mana pool with the mana shield, but he hits reasonably well, and because of split shot, he can do quite
Ferrari.
a bit.
He's walking through these trees like there's a just shackle waiting to happen at this point, but they haven't committed it yet. And it looks like they're going to wait for the moment, but man, Wind Ranger has just been up on this high ground waiting this entire time, scouting them all out, and it does look like Wrong is going to walk through this. He's holding still for the moment, does not want to get killed off by a sentry, and yeah, they're going to back out for the moment.
IG need detection. Like, every single time. Like, the Rubik's walking around freely and he's going unpunished. That could be a free kill for IG if they just bring detection to try and scout out where the Rubik is. Like, the Rubik is doing so much for VG.R because they're consistently figuring out where IG is. If he spots them in the base, then VG.R can sort of move around the map freely. If they spot someone out in the jungle just because the Rubik sees it, then it's an easy kill. IG, they need to they need to make these small plays, like just punish these small things, and it's just they don't really seem like they really want to do it. They're just trying to finish up these items. You've got Staff of Wizardry on the Wyvern. They're going to try and make something happen in the top lane, however, but it's a jug. Can they finish this jug on time?
Wrong is right behind him, and they
the
take on
vacuum.
out the tower. It's not going to work. Over on
They
the other
mistimed
side,
it.
no, does end up throwing out the shackle. It's not going to connect, and starting to break through this mana. Ferrari 430 right up front and center. Omni Slash committed on XS, and he is going to end up going down, and is also here, and he's going to be able to continue to burn through this. He does have the Aegis available, so it's going to end up being completely out of mana, and Ferrari goes down. They didn't even pop the Aegis. Oh, QD is still alive for the moment, but that was a terrible fight for them. Already, right off the start, there's the jump forward. Sprout as well. Ursa's going down. 4 heroes are dead, and they just didn't get anything for it outside of that Nature's Prophet. Wrong is going to die also. Oh, wow. That was... And who has buyback right now? Bounty Hunter and Darkseer.
Darkseer's already used the wall. Like, what can Darkseer do even if he bought back? There's honestly nothing IG could do. This is the beginning of the end for IG. But there's no way, there's absolutely no way that I see IG coming back from this. VGR have been playing perfectly, like absolutely crisp donut.
Winter's Curse is up and ready to go if they want to commit it. Arctic Burn, they do go into DDC. He's dropping low, but he's not dead and is still alive. They got the Cold Embrace. He's still going to be fine through this. And Bobica, he's going to end up losing his life. They just committed one of the biggest abilities that they had left to hold him out, and they didn't get anything for it. Oh, wow.
Oh, I told you, it's the beginning of the end. IG, they need everything to hang on to this game. And the first item Ferrari picks up is, unfortunately, a Lincoln Sphere, which it doesn't even help him against that Juggernaut.
Oh,
the
wow,
mana
really?
drain's still a problem. He went for, like, what else could... like, there's so many other items he could have picked up. Honestly, right? What does the Lincoln Sphere really protect him from this game? There's like so many spells that VGR can commit to pop the Lincoln Sphere, which makes it completely...
Or items. Like Enchantress has a Force Staff.
Yeah.
You've got... What else do we have on here? All of the stuff out of Rubik's Kit, basically. And
Rubik, yeah.
It feels like it's one of those items that never does enough of what it needs. You really need at least either damage or like tankiness on this hero, and Lincoln's, because of the active ability, like the value that you get is caught up somewhat, I think, in that, and also the like the mana and health regeneration. I really think it's not worth it in this type of game to go for that. And like anything else, like drums, thinking about going for like the Yasha build, And it just, I feel like we're just going to see the Lincolns break, and then all of our mana is going to be gone.
You didn't even have to break the Lincolns. Like Jug just hits her a couple of times, and all of a sudden Ferrari's down to half mana pool. So, this is not a Lincoln Sphere game. This really isn't.
Yeah.
I'm so frustrated watching this because I know they're stuck in their base. They can't really make the plays happen, but Lincoln Sphere, why?
Wrong is up here. He realizes that Yang is farming. I don't know what his plan is at this point, but we will see. He's just scouting it out for the moment, and I guess he realized that they don't have sentry wards there, so it's a safe place for him to be. He doesn't want to go anywhere else. But regardless, down here in the bottom lane, this is where we're going to start to pressure again. They don't have Aegis available, but Ferrari is going to be up front and center, starting to take a little bit of damage. Lincoln's is pop. They have Omni Slash available if they want to go for it, but they're going to hold out for the moment. And Vacuum back, going to catch on to 3. Wallace will play it as well, but there's going to be the Omni Slash immediately committed, shackled up on the other side of it, and Ferrari goes down. Nothing he can do. Completely and totally destroyed. The Diffusal Blade was committed onto Darkseer. He goes down. Wrong is going to fall as well, and suddenly 3 heroes are dead. Buyback from Medusa. What are you going to do? There's going to be at least the ultimate committed at this point in time, but the Lincolns breaks a second time through. Now Rubik has Stone Gaze as well. He has already started to drop very low. Double damage on No-No. He is going to end up killing off the Medusa. That's a dieback, and it looks like they're going to end up losing this one. Potentially, they do end up being able to kill her off in the end. A really well-played combo there. Man, that was close, though.
How much gold?
A lot.
IG out of that though. Let's just wait for the.
Oh, DDC, he goes down too.
Wow.
He walked through the wall, and then Wrong was able to get the shuriken bounce off a creep. It actually, with the buybacks, was only 900 gold. Ursa got 2,400 from it, but aggregate it wasn't as much.
It could have been more, but I think at that point, like, that's the best thing IG could really ask for. It's just the only really unfortunate thing is that it forced a buyback on Ferrari, which he died again anyway, so that means he's not getting any sort of progression. It's great that QD's getting all the progression, but he just doesn't have the team to back him up. If he had things like Hexes, Earth Spikes, even Burrow Strikes and such, just to sort of keep VGR in place so that QD can do the work, then I could definitely see QD sort of holding IG on his back for the most part, and then hopefully his team is going to be able to come back with him as well. But because he doesn't have all that solid lockdown to sort of help him set up to get those secured kills, it's still unreliable to think that the Ursa is going to be able to do everything. Like, he's gone all defensive in terms of items, like BKB, Aghanim Scepter, Blink Dagger. Like, he doesn't have any sort of major aggressive items like a Basher yet, which, if he does get one down the line, it's going to be really great when it comes to chasing down some of those heroes. And then when Abyssal Blade comes online, if we get that far in the game, then the Ursa is going to be a very big target for VGR.
Well, and you sort of understand needing to go for those defensive items, but the problem, I think, is that it's like the defensive. He has to go those items because of the draft that they're running, and like, you don't have the lockdown that you need to be able to deal with it otherwise. Like, this would be a fine item build for him if they had something like a Lion instead of the Winter Wyvern, or, you know, something along the lines of a Beastmaster instead of the Darkseer. And obviously, I think both of those heroes were banned out, but it's something where I think if you pick the Ursa that early in your draft, you really limit yourself in terms of what else you're able to do, because you have to build the rest of the draft. Like, you get those other core heroes banned out. Regardless, though, it looks like they're going to be pushing up for this Tier 3 tower here. End is going to be able to clear out the Creep Wave. He's got Omni Slash available if he wants to go for it. They could commit the Diffusal Blade onto Ferrari 432. They end up taking over the Siege Creep also, so they're going to bring that with them next time around.
Okay, just free couple of hits onto the melee racks, you presume. Let's get that away from IG. But Roche is going to respawn in a minute 30. For VGR, they could honestly just wait for this next Roche, take the Aegis, and then they can at least push high ground safely, knowing that they have that secondary life. Like, you know, IG is going to do everything that they can to grab kills, and that could slow down the push for VGR. And we did see a couple of days ago where one team having issues. Oh god, another kill? That was on the bounty, and that was just wrong.
Yeah. No,
April
Ursa was
is
there as
over.
well. Yeah,
Although he
QD.
could die.
He might end
No,
up
no,
paying
she.
for this. He's going to run away for the moment. The rest of the side was over there, but you look down here in the bottom, and they're able to do a little bit more damage. He did go for the range backs, and that forces out the glyph. So you lose one. That's a bit of a problem. Like, being able to force out the glyph at this stage in the game, they're so important. And now they can back and wait for Roshan. It's a long respawn timer, but it's still pretty okay at this stage for VG.R, because that means Nature's Prophet's going to be up when they do end up going again. And the Vision game, it's a little bit better for IG. They've been able to place some of these wards down in somewhat aggressive locations, but you've also still got the problem that VGR have been able to place their own Vision down. So it's kind of a tit for tat, and with the 20k plus net worth lead that you've got on VGR, and already a lane of racks, you need so much from IG to be able to come back into this game.
So for now, Wrong's just going to put a observe ward on the high ground. Now, unfortunately, it may get dewarded quite quickly by VGR if they do put their own ward up there. It looks like the sentry ward vision has run out. So it looks like for now, VGR, they're just more or less content just staying in the bottom lane, putting some pressure on the Raxes instead of waiting for that Roche. Which it could end up being risky, but actually instead they found XS. They have to pop the Cold Embrace, but the Darkseer is losing so much mana, and he's gonna die. There's no opportunity to do anything, and all of a sudden Bobika gets caught, silence up as well. We've got Ferrari in the front lines, but the Shackle as well as the Omni Slash. It's too much. IG, they've been completely overwhelmed by VGR, and they're probably going to be seeing a GG call very shortly. They get the curse off, only onto a Rubik. They almost lose the Ursa, but QD just getting into base, and he really wants to kill, but the Cold Embrace is going to buy time. And now he
bought the Blink Dagger. Oh, God.
Yep. He's got so much gold. Why wouldn't you?
I think, did he buy that Blink Dagger and then blink so that he wouldn't get the I think he bought it so that the cooldown wouldn't expire from the right clicks that he was taking. I'm not sure about that. He might have already had it. But if he did do that, that was next level plays. That's all I'll say about that. Melee Barracks is going to go down, yeah, and the pick off on the Darkseer was the nail in the coffin, but they were already in such a bad spot. Now they do end up being able to get the silence onto Bobika. He's not going to be able to throw enough in the Splinter Blast to stop this. They're just getting kited to all heck. You can't do anything to stop it. And the other thing about this is that, like, Medusa's next item is going to be a Manta style. FY is just running away from here. They continue to get chased on out, and XS, he's dropping low. They end up being able to get the kill on the Shackle on a QD. The right clicks are there with the impetus shots, and he explodes. No finds him. GG ends up getting called. Holy hell, what a stomp.
Another 2-0 for VGR. So they quite literally 2-0'd IG, 2 series in a row right after each other. Quite literally 25 minutes after each other. It just goes to show you how strong VGR are, and they just they figured out IG. And it doesn't matter how many games IG play versus VGR, it never seems to be the case where IG's sort of figured out VG.
Yeah,
man.
I'm with you completely. Well, really good showing by VGR. They end up moving on. They're going to face eHome in a match tomorrow. Actually, day after tomorrow, excuse me. April 4th is when it's going to take place. And that one, tune in, everybody, because it's going to be a doozy. Probably, I think at this point, the top 2 teams in China. We saw eHome yesterday. They looked incredibly good. I was really impressed with them, and we'll see what they end up being able to bring to the table next time. Yet again, Lyrical, Dota, and Danelie cast, your casters today. Danny, any final thoughts before we move on into our next series of the night?
I think for now we'll just sort of keep our energy for that second series. Don't want to expend too much because we are in for an exciting Chinese ride.
Exactly. Well, IG, they're going to face off against cdec.youth. They can't be feeling good after those couple of games, but they're not playing VGR this next time, so maybe a little bit of hope going their direction. Thank you guys for tuning in so much. Again, I apologize for the lag that we ended up experiencing. At this point in time, there's nothing really you can do. You roll the dice at the beginning of each game, and depending upon which server you get, you either get to watch a wonderful one or a terrible one. But hope you guys enjoyed it regardless. We'll see you guys in just a second as we get ready for IG versus cdec.youth.